All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and depending from where you are watching us from. This is Biafra Watchman TV. We are live and we are direct. We are here to bring you the gospel of redemption. We are here to speak that bitter truth without fear or favor. If today is the first time of coming across our video, please like, subscribe, and share. When I watched this video, I say, sure, has it gotten to that point? Fulani has right to buy people. But if you buy them at the process of defending yourself, then they will jail you or they will sentence you to buy it by hanging. Get the point? You will listen to what transpired. When I first read it in one blogger, this very news. I read it from one blogger. I said, this is just a makeup story. I don't think this is real. But say, I just come across this video and say, sure. So, Fulani militia masquerading themselves as S-men. So they've become this powerful. Look at what is happening in our land. How do we manage to come to this point? How do we manage to? How do we manage to? Calamity is about to befall us. So, have you asked yourself, ever since Simon was out of the sea, that this their onslaught started with full force, starting from December, how they buy people like tomorrow no much as cut the money like tomorrow no day. Ever since then, reach now, man, Ali will have no peace. And the one funny thing is that the Musa is no longer talking. Musa have said that peace have returned back to the region since Simon was somewhere according to him. And funny enough, the people calling Simon, including the DOS followers, including all those politicians, we are not hearing from them again. Now Fulani don't they buy people like tomorrow, don't they? And they themselves don't have solution. Even to come out and talk, they are not even talking. At least if Simon is around, he will still talk. But these guys, they are not even talking. What is actually happening? Amen. They will listen. Fulani, if you buy them, if they buy you, they have no answer. They have no question to answer. But if you buy them at the process of defending yourself, and they will carry you go court to, if care is not taken, they will declare say they will hang you or they will put your life in imprisonment. If they come, use their cow or whatever, destroy your farms, it's their right. At this 21st century, we are still talking about open grazing. They carry cow, they walk up and down. There's a video I watched. Man, if you see this very cow, where they cause problem for us, for that enclave, for that contraption. Why did they buy people like tomorrow already because of cow? If you see the way, I don't know if that country is Holland, the way if you see cow, beef go hungry you. Very, very healthy. Even the milk. You see how they are processing the milk. But in Nigeria, they use because of cow, they buy people. Cow will trek from Sokoto down to east. What remains in the cow's body? Child. It's gotten to the point that if you buy Fulani man, no one buy you out of self-defense, you buy him at the process, and you don't enter our allow. I could remember when Obiano, I saw the video again, the video resurfaced again. When Obiano was in power, he said, if Fulani buy you 500,000, if you buy Fulani cow, 500,000, these are the guys that are claiming to be the leader of the Igbo. Are you talking about the one of Enugu? You're talking about the one of Enugu. He's begging Fulani. He's begging them. You want to tell me that he's not aware of what is going on in Iyamufu? Look at the state governor, Losuti. They have dropped press release that, man, henceforth, that Fulani cow, where they bring Wahala, you know what see for his state. Encouraging people when they grow native cow, if Igbo. When they look for alternative than fish. But for Fulani to carry that useless cow, where they carry the guise of rearing cattle or rearing cow, they buy people, they take over their land. So you don't want to sell for his state. Look at what this is Yamufu. They are buying people like tomorrow. My question is this: does it mean that there's no people from that Yamufu that lives in diaspora? Or are you still doing that it don't concern you? Have you forgotten that your placenta was buried in that Yamufu? Why can't you guys organize a raise fund to equip men? One, another number program I watched, one of the security from that place called and was crying, say, and the most annoying part is that not that there are no men that volunteer themselves. There are bobos that volunteer themselves. Now, what we are now arguing, what we are now talking about now is to equip them. To equip them, give the things they need to match these guys, these Fulani invaders head on. But nothing of such. The guy was, calling like that the other man at a point, became emotional, started crying. Yeah? He said now they chased them away from their farm settlement. They no longer go too far. And they've extended. The same thing that happened in Benue. Before we know it, what's going on, we'll start having IDP camp in Enugu. This same thing that happened in Benue. And we are mocking Benue people. We are making mockery of Benue. Whereas look at our own now. That's so it start for Benue. There's no other way it start. Now like this, it takes start for Benue. Today, Benue is now a history. The whole of that Benue belt are now a history. They start our own now. We just a look. People from Ihamufu that lives in diaspora. They go there, but it's a shame that you buy. They don't carry you go where they bury your placenta. Don't forget your placenta was buried in Ihamufu and the Fulani take them over. You are a corner. You don't go understand what you buy when you go to the other side. No, we're gonna have there and actually got to see the podium board. And I'm going to bury your placenta. Now, 4.5 have taken over, and I'm going to jack and more. See the podium board. And they cook with me, they cook. They made the placenta and a Fulani will get. The Fulani have taken over that place. They're here, no one. So I attack. So they kanga. That's why I talk as I tell you, and I say it be. So people from Ihamufu who live in diaspora, it's high time you guys will put call. They can see salvage. How will they salvage? If you guys are looking on government, you go talk to you tomorrow. They don't care. They don't send you. Even Fulani, they are targeting your land. And their governor is willing to give them that land. Even if even they lobby some people say, oh boy, may they come on high. If the money may they give them, money may they come on high, may Fulani for take that place. So if they look, say there is government, what is the work of governor? What is governor doing? And what is government doing? You on your own, no. Before you know it, they happen. Fulani go take over your land. You will not have a place to call home. So it's high time you guys should do what? Put call. Ask question. What are we going to do? What must we do to salvage our land? We are there abroad. Consign on her. Because you have this COG. I don't know, make it a root thing. You want to call until it don't reach you. Now you gonna say, not serious. But now it never reach you. You sleep the wake. Anything where hungry you eat. You don't see any threat of life where you dey for abroad. Believe all is well. All is not well for your side though, because Fulani want to take over your village. And it will be a very shameful thing that you dey Fulani take over your place. It's better you guys put call. Put call. What are we going to do? I could remember some security guys after the first time they stroke, Fulani stroke in Ihamufu. See some bubbles, some guys, they just the parents say this is a Ihamufu security outfit. Just run. Just walk up and then. Now the ships are down. You guys are nowhere to be found. I don't know why. That is why these guys, they always make sure they inflict hardship and poverty so that they cannot reason, so that they cannot reject some certain offer. There are some certain offer they will bring to table. They will bring for you, you reject them. Because you don't say that offer, they detriment. Forget about the benefit that comes with that offer. You will enjoy for that moment. And that money go finish you. That benefit go end though. If we end, years to come, you will regret. You will regret. Now they use the people to do political jamboree. It looks as if the PG or the government or the local government chairman, they are working. Where are you guys now? When Fulani now don't show fully. Where on a day? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. For Ihamufu indigenous, that Ihamufu indigenous, whether abroad, Mona put call. Mona put call to know how on a save on a place. Failure to do so, Ihamufu will be a history. And if you come to the point of, establishing IDP camp, forget it. Manaka guarantee Ihamufu will go history. Ihamufu, I will go history. So when I listen to what they discuss here, to see the kind of level where Fulani don't get for Nigeria. Country where they are making use of two constitutions, one for the north and one for the south. Hey. I greet you all, genuine Biafrans, peace and love.
You may not have heard of him, but Sunday Jackson, a former student in his early 30s, is facing death by hanging after Nigeria's Supreme Court today upheld the judgment of a lower court in Adamawa State. Mr. Jackson was a student turned farmer who says he was violently attacked on his farm in Kodomti Forest in the Newman local government area in Adamawa State by a Fulani herdsman known as Buba Bawuro. The herdsman had strayed into Mr. Jackson's farm with his animals, and after Mr. Jackson challenged him, he apparently pulled a knife and a fight ensued. He stabbed Mr. Jackson a couple of times, but he managed to retrieve the knife and to stab his attacker in the neck, whereupon he died. Mr. Jackson was arrested and charged with murder. He's consistently argued that it was self-defense. In 2021, he was found guilty by a court in Yola and condemned to death by hanging. And today, the Supreme Court in Abuja upheld that judgment. So he's now in a race for his life, and the only option left is to appeal for clemency from the governor of Adamawa State. So what hope does he now have of a reprieve? Well, for more on this case, I'm joined now in the studio by a member of his defense team, the US-based human rights lawyer, Emmanuel Ogebe, and by Dr. William Terence Devlin, an American human rights leader who has been supporting Mr. Jackson. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Let me start with you, Emmanuel. Just briefly give us the background to this case and what led to Sunday Jackson ending up on death row.
Yes, so this is really a sad day, I think, for Nigerians and their rights to self-defense. Nigerians already have to provide their own security, electricity, infrastructure, and now they can't even defend themselves without being sentenced to death. And I think all of us should be very alarmed by this very unfortunate precedent. In February of 2021, we read in the news about Jackson's death sentence just as we were coming into Nigeria. So we flew to Yola, and I met with his counsel. He was so poor that it was Legal Aid Counsel that helped him. And so I looked through a copy of the judgment, and on the spot, in that initial review, I saw that there was a 167-day lapse between the close of arguments and the judgment. Now, our Constitution specifically says it has to be within 90 days. Now, the Legal Aid Counsel hadn't even found it. That shows you the quality of representation that he had or lack thereof. So, Mr. Jackson has been failed at every possible level by the system. And but
couldn't you adduce that argument at the Supreme Court?
Well, so here's the thing. So I was initially working with the Legal Aid Counsel to prepare an appeal. I traveled back to the U.S. When I came back, his counsel had changed. And so a group that I'm affiliated with had taken over, and I knew the chap with that. So I reached out to him and drew his attention to this fact. And he also had marshaled other facts and, threw them all in. But the sad thing is, despite everything, and the case is so clear because this man retrieved the knife of his attacker. So it wasn't his own knife. But one thing that really stands out to me is, I was talking to my dentist today about this, and a dentist said to me, what happened to the charge of manslaughter? Because at the very worst, if he had to be charged with something, it would be manslaughter. He did not know that chap before that day. He couldn't have premeditated this. And I believe that this is one of those cases that when it was brought by the police to the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP's advice should have killed this case. This man has no case to answer. And now he's sentenced to death. He's exhausted all legal channels and is awaiting execution.
How did you get involved in this case?
Barrister Emmanuel and I have been working for a number of years here in Nigeria on human rights issues, and this is a sad day, Charles, for human rights in Nigeria. Sunday Jackson, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a human rights advocate. Sunday Jackson, by anyone's estimation, is totally innocent. And the issue where this man was out farming, minding his own business, and then the attacker came and a struggle ensued. And of course, this man is going to defend himself. That's why we call it self-defense. And yet today we were at the Nigerian Supreme Court, and it was very brief. It was only about maybe 2 minutes long. And we just wept at the failure of the Nigerian Supreme Court to say that this man, and they had the opportunity to say this man was totally innocent. We haven't seen all the ins and outs of the decision, but we had the opportunity to meet this humble farmer, this young man who unfortunately his wife abandoned him, had been on death row for 10 years. So Sunday Jackson has now become an international case for human rights.
Yes,
and
because
so we're going to continue to advocate.
I was going to ask you what are the international dimensions of this case?
Well, the international dimensions are Open Doors, which is a human rights organization, has recounted that there have been thousands of killings of Christians by Fulanis. And so as a human rights advocate and as a pastor, I'm here to advocate for this man who is totally innocent. So it has international implications. The eyes of human rights advocates are now on Nigeria. Like, how could this happen? How could this possibly happen? By anyone's estimation, as Barrister said earlier, manslaughter at least, because murder one that he's being convicted of and may face hanging if we can't get clemency for him, it has to be premeditated. So what justice on the Nigerian Supreme Court, that didn't pop up and say to him or her, this is a case of self-defense and this man is totally innocent. So we encourage people to continue to pray for Sunday Jackson and his innocence.
Emmanuel, what was the prosecution's argument? I understand that they urged the court to convict Mr. Jackson solely on his confessional statement and based on the fact that death had occurred. So basically, no mitigating circumstances, and that was pretty much how the judge saw it.
Yes, so part of the problem is they are arguing that he had a responsibility to flee. Now, in the US, we have, stand your ground rules, which means you can defend yourself as much as you want. Now, here, they're arguing that instead of fight, you should have flight. You should flee.
In other words, after he overpowered the man and retrieved the knife, there was no further need to stab him.
Yes, but that is not accurate, and I don't think that's a fair requirement to make to someone who is facing imminent death. Now, just the data alone of all the massacres that have occurred, he couldn't have known if there were more headsmen on their way to kill him. He has seen reports of what these people do. This guy just stabbed him. And so to expect him to reasonably assume that to fulfill the conditions of the law he needed to flee made no sense.
Yeah, but nevertheless, do remember that a lot of Nigerian law is based on English common law. And if you go into somebody's house to rob the person. I think it's different in America. It's that standard ground thing. You can actually shoot the person. If you did that in the UK, you'd be charged with murder.
Well, yeah, but here's the issue. The issue is that the attacker brought the knife, he overpowered him and took the knife after he sustained injuries. And this is why I have a problem. The evidence shows that he was injured in the leg. And then you say that he should have run. So he was at that moment momentarily incapacitated to even be able to run. I mean, the facts are not in doubt. This man did not die that this attacker died as a result of the attack. But the circumstances was he attacked me, I was in fear for my life, and I fought back.
Were there any witnesses?
There were no witnesses. But, I mean, even the prosecution admitted that the weapon belonged to the attacker. The evidence, he had scars on his body of the injuries he sustained.
Right. Okay, let me ask you, William.
Yes.
Are you now in the process of trying to reach out to political leaders in Adamawa State in order to seek clemency? Because that's the only option, really.
That's the only option. We are bringing out every possible person, method, ability to be able to grant clemency to Mr. Sunday Jackson, who is totally innocent. And so, yes, we are on a fast track to alert people that here's a man that you can stand up for from a human rights perspective. Be a hero today in Nigeria on the issue of human rights and stand up for this nobody, Sunday Jackson, that's totally innocent in spite of what the Nigerian Supreme Court said today. So yeah, we're initiating and we're going full force on that.
And how much time has he actually got now?
Well, we're not sure what the timeline is now. Right. And just to illustrate the level of disappointment, we had someone on standby to pick him up from prison today.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make the call to say he's not going home, he's going to be killed. His children are ill. We've had to take care of them. His wife abandoned him. And so even in this time, he's not surrounded by his family, and we're going to put him to death. But I do want to make a quick point here about we're standing up not just for him, but for all of us. The Fulani militia have killed thousands of Christians. They've killed Muslims as well. And many of them are foreigners. So we have a situation where foreigners come and kill Nigerians with impunity, and Nigerians can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
In the Northwest right now, Lakawura is a Fulani terrorist group that was invited to come and help stop the terrorism of Boko Haram and bandits. And they're now killing the people they came in to protect.
Right.
So Nigeria is under siege. And there are more Nigerian citizens on death row in Nigeria now for defending themselves against Fulani headsmen than there are Fulani headsmen in Nigerian prisons in death row. That's just wrong. That's unacceptable.
Upside down.
So no idea how much...
Hey, ebe n'ebe egbuo on the Fulani aka ha na ndị Nkano ndị wawo Orioba na-eme dalin all the same Fulani ya na mara m obodo a na-agba afọ ya mana ọ dị ka Benue on the Fulani ya ka ndị ha na ndị Enugu chuzuru ị na-ata anụ efi dam liberation ndị Nkano kedu ebe gopowa nọ na ndị ụna ha na-abụ na-eme dalin half of Enugu na awurugo Muslim na ya ebe a na kedu nke kpọrọ onwe ya oke Chris kedu ebe ọ nọ na-eke esi slaughter people ya bụrụ ihe ọfụ ọ eji maka ya wee malụ Fulani ọ eji maka ya malụ Fulani kedu nke Emmanuel Ogbu isi sogbu na Germany na ndị ụna ha na-abụ na-eme dalin ndị kọnkagoro Enugu na ebe a na ihe ha mere dịka wee slaughter people kedu go power nọ n'obodo minimum wage ewu $10 $20 ịkwụgharị ọnwụ asị Christian si ya Christian asịrị ya na ebe a ndị ụna ha na-abụ na-eme dalin ndị Fulani akpalugo Enugu ndị agụụ chief unu kụrụ akụkọ asịrị gba ịkpa na-asa mmiri na-asa burucha ka Usman Danfodio jebe Sokoto bụrụ efele iji eme baba ya ala na ebe a na ndị ụna ha na-abụ na-eme dalin
Well, they will continue to attack you and they will continue to kill you. You need to defend yourself. Remember, Simon Eber wanted to defend you people. Just sit at home on Monday so that he can engage these guys. I'm not going to sit at home. I'm selling a house. I'm selling an aeroplane. I'm selling a diamond. Yes, Simon Eber said, okay, go ahead and sell your horse and your diamond. The Fulani Hegemon is coming on vengeful. They are on the offense. Now, is this a Biafran liberation? Thank God General Botuzo and Gentle Yahoo have ceased fire. Is that the Biafran Liberation Army now? I'm not hearing anybody talking. Where is Emeka Africa? Where is Azuka? Where is OK Chris? They're not talking now. Oh, Biafran Liberation Army is killing everybody in Biafra land. Thank God they have suspended the operations. They have listening to ceasefire. What is going on here? Well, if you don't defend yourself, let them kill you. And what they hear Melun Metun, somebody put his life in line to defend you. Just clear on Monday so that we can assess situation and engage these people. Oh, I thought it was Biafran Liberation Army that is killing people. I thought it was the Biafrans. That Biafrans is one killing their people. Oh, how can you get freedom by killing your people? Oh, you kill your people, you get freedom. What's going on now?